Good day, everyone. This is a old, probably 15 years plus. It's a console air cleaner or air purifier, and basically we're gonna get this thing going again. There's a few issues. A, it's extremely dirty, and the second issue is that the motor needs oiling, because once it cools off, it's very hard for that motor to get started again, and that's not a good situation. You know, if it doesn't go, it's going to overheat and ruin the motor. But I don't know, you can pick these up at, as I say, this is an older one, you can pick them up at garage sales and wherever, and they might look old and grimy and stuff, but in many cases they're still going to work. There's two basic different kinds of these console air cleaners or air purifiers. There's the HEPA filter ones, which are really good, maybe if you have some serious health issues. Then there's these electrostatic ones, or they call it an electronic air cleaner back in the day. These are also very good too, because most of them have washable filters, so you don't have a bunch of money going out the window buying new filters all the time, because they do get dirty quickly and you will have to change filters quite often. So stick around. I'm going to completely end up dismantling this thing so we can look at how grimy it is and how dirty things are. But if you're here and you're just curious about these machines, this will give you some good insight into what's in them anyway, because the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to turn this around, take a look at the back here. So that's where all the goods are, behind this door. I'll make sure it's unplugged. Definitely do that. And if it is plugged in, don't be fooled, because if you open this door, there's a switch that will turn the unit off, but it still has power to it, so make sure it is unplugged. So this kind of unit, it's sort of set up, normally it's supposed to have 3 different filters in it. So this is the electrostatic one, and we're just going to pop this out and we're going to take a look. And you can, well, it's pretty dirty, okay? So we're going to address that. You can submerge these in water and clean them out. Don't put them in a dishwasher. I mean, you could, but don't use dishwasher for you know, the detergent. It will destroy these things, because this is aluminum. That stuff's very corrosive that you use to wash your dishes, whatever it is. So that's the main electronic type filter. They just work by, there's an electrical charge and it captures stuff. So I have a wood stove. A lot of this, that's probably smoke. Sometimes there is some smoking in the house on occasion, so it's pretty gross. This would be considered the pre-filter down here. And take this out, be very gentle, because voila, I mean, that's pretty nasty. And then what this filter is missing, there's a carbon filter. You can still get them. A lot of these machines are still all the same, no matter who makes them. But there's a carbon filter that looks very similar to this, except it has carbon or charcoal in it. And it removes, you know, odors and stuff. I don't even bother with that thing, because it's just one more thing. Like you'd have to keep buying over and over and over again. And really, for what I use it for, just to get dust out of the air, this works perfect. So I'm going to show you how to clean these 2 filters here. And then, so I'll get that going. And then we're going to start taking this thing apart, because this motor needs to be oiled, or something's not right with it. It's not, once it cools off, it gets very hard to turn. But I'll open it up so you can see it all. So let me move over to the sink here, because this is the procedure I use. I very carefully we'll take this over here, and I'll set this down in the sink gently, and I turn the dirty side down. And what I usually end up doing, this is just nylon, a nylon material, so nothing much is going to really go wrong with that. But what I do use, now you can get whatever brand you want to use. This is what I'm using today. Not an endorsement, but I think this does have some bleach in it. Yep, it does. And what I'm going to do, just give it a light, I guess, misting. I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes. This is going to do two things. It's going to give it a chance to soak into all that gross stuff. Plus it's going to disinfect it. And plus it's made it wet. So now when I rinse it or do whatever, you're not going to have all that dirt blowing around in your face. So, okay, I'm going to let this sit for 5 minutes. And then I'm just going to rinse it off. I don't think you need to see that. Well, maybe I will. But anyways, let's let it sit for 5 minutes. Be right back. It's just using hot water. And then we're just going to start rinsing this out. You can see, like, it comes off quite easy, but that's a lot of garbage. So I'm just going to continue, rinse this out really well, and just get it out of the way somewhere. You have to make sure all this stuff is very, very dry before you put the unit back together. So while the lighting is still good in here, I just wanted to show you before we go and get this cleaned up. It is quite dirty. Just take my finger here, a little bit of moisture on it. I'm just going to rub a spot here. But it is quite grimy. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fill up my sink with hot water and just a little bit of standard dish soap, or even the type of soap you might use on your floor. Don't use a lot. All we're going to do is I'm going to start soaking this. That's the best way I can suggest doing it. I mean, you could just rinse it with the tap and stuff, but I find soaking it will loosen up all this grime, because it's gonna have like an certain oil content to it, especially if it's from smoke and stuff. It really is gross. So I'm gonna fill up my sink and we're gonna soak this. Okay, so here we are. I've done some soaking on this, but in many cases soaking is not enough, and I just wanted to show you. I did a little bit here, but it's a bit of a long process. I'm not going to show it all, but just to show you, you know, the impact or the change. I'm just going to make a little proof here. So I'm going to spray this. So a lot of the stuff has come off. Now I did some cleaning on these ones, and this is a bit of a process because you have to work on spraying in between all those fins, right? Now, one thing I can say, I would not use any vinegar on aluminum. I just find it's just not bad. It's bad. It corrodes it. It's not good. And I don't even really recommend using something like this because it has bleach in it, and bleach is kind of corrosive. So, you know, check into various cleaners that are not very corrosive. But the trick to using something like this is to not let it sit and soak on there very long. This product does seem to loosen up this grime. As I say, this is a lot of smoke material. It looks like it's pulled in. And so I'll just show you here. We'll give these a little spray. And we'll just let that sit for, you know, we'll give it 20 seconds. You just don't want it to dry. Whenever there's a product on here, because just how these fins are, plus they're a little bit heated up from the hot water, things will dry quickly, and you don't want to let this dry on there. So spray it on, and hopefully you have a nozzle where you can spray water. And then we'll give it a quick rinse. And you can see it took that grime right off of there. So I'm pretty happy with that. So we're going to continue on. I won't keep it on video, but I'm going to continue on cleaning this out. And I've only just begun. I haven't really gotten a lot of the grime off. I've done a few little blades there, or fins. And so far, I mean, that's what you're looking at. Oh, I just wanted to show you, I just turned it over too. I mean, of course, on the other side, there's more. The fins, as I say, they go all the way through. But here, you can see where I soaked it. That was from straight soaking, so the soaking alone did a lot. So that's my recommendation. That'll get you started, and then we'll follow up with a little bit of spray and do a lot of rinsing. Okay, and again, when you're doing this, make sure you spray in between. Well, when you're rinsing plus spraying any detergents, make sure you get it all in between and then rinse it out. Spray in between all the fins, and that will clear all the stuff out. So, all right, keep going here. All right, just finishing up here. I did a little more soaking, a little more rinsing, and I just wanted to show you that, yeah, I mean, you can't deny it. It looks better. Hopefully you can see that. The back is looking much better also. But yeah, pretty much done. You don't have to get it perfect. Just clean it as best you can. Okay, so normally if I were to be cleaning this, I just simply use a vacuum with one of these ends on here. Sort of a brush end. Because you can get in between, just run your vacuum back and forth and clean all that stuff out. But this thing is a little bit dirtier than most. So I'm going to take all these panels off and actually wash them by hand. Okay, so we're gonna take off this fan, or well, fan slash motor, and we'll see what we can do with this. Just so you know, that's what I'm saying. It's getting really, as it cools off. I mean, after we, well, hopefully after I lubricate this, I'll show you how to do that. Possibly, this should spin, because right now, if I plug this in and try to start it, this fan would not move, because that, I know it might not look like it, but I can tell it is very stiff. So I'm gonna just continue. Let's get this thing taken off of here. Okay, so this thing is holding on the fan, I believe, so let's pull this up. Alright, that was good. Good. It's holding it on here now. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. It's It's one of these clips. I should be able to get this off with the pliers. Okay, there we go. So when you put this back on, it's like a, I guess sort of like a clamp. Has some spring action to it, so it came off. Let's see if this fan will pop off now. It should. Yeah, I think it's gonna come off. Just jiggling it back and forth. Come on. Alright, so that's apart. Alright, so here's the fan. I'm going to take this and we're going to wash this off. Now the motor. See if I can get it up here now so we can look at it. Now this motor, it's not designed to come apart, but that's okay. See this shaft, that is actually really hard to turn. See how stiff that is. So obviously there's some sort of, it feels good. So I think it's just a lubrication issue. Man, I think I could take this apart if I had to, but okay, I have a screwdriver now, and what it looks like, you can see this. So normally, as I said, there are bolts that go through these motors, that's really hard to turn, that hold them together, but this one looks like it's crimped together. So I have a big screwdriver here. I don't know what's gonna happen here. So basically I'm pulling out the crimps, or just bending the metal out. And I don't know, we'll see what happens. Yeah, okay. Alright. Okay, so, alright, oh wow. That's really good. Hopefully that's on camera. Okay, so there we go. We got it apart. Amazing. Now, why is it so stiff? So, the stiffness is really, it might be at the back, but it's really this cover here that's super stiff. I don't know if this, just have to see how this is attached. But that is really stiff. Okay, okay. Okay. I don't know if I want to. Normally, I don't think I would have taken this all the way off. Just kind of want to show you guys, but here, I'm going to just lower it down, pull harder. Okay. So, this looks like some sort of a, I don't know if it's a bearing or a bushing. I think that's just a bushing. Okay, so if that's the case, we'll get this oiled up. So, first thing I'm going to do, very bottom of the motor, I just want to see. This moves, this spins. Okay, no, that doesn't spin, so a little bit of oil down in there. I'm using where I put my oil. Oh, here it is. So down in the middle, that's where one of the shaft of the motor goes at the back. we're gonna just put a couple drops of, this is like just 3-in-1 oil. It's for 1/4 horsepower motors. So we're gonna put a couple drops down in there. Okay, so that's good. A few drops in there. Now this is another story here. Oh, wow, okay. All I'm gonna do, all right, investigate this some more. All right, I see what's happening here. So with this, it looks like, now this is probably not in the best of shape at this point, but there is some sort of a, and this is common with electric motors, there's some sort of a felt around here. Really hard to see on camera, but that's probably dried out. So I'm going to saturate with that oil. Unfortunately, it looks a little bit damaged right here. I don't know if I did that. I might have done that or been the cause of it. I just, as I said, I'm not really all that familiar with this particular motor, but there is still felt around there. So we're going to saturate that with oil. Just going to put some more oil in there. And that's probably why it gets so stiff and it's dried out basically. So let me just see. Put this here. Whoa! Dang. I just want to see if that's absorbing it. So I put some oil right in here, and it is. It's totally absorbing it. So that's okay if the bit of the felt is probably damaged. Not a big deal, because most of it's intact and it's not really going to move anywhere. It's not like it's fallen out of there. So that could be like a cork or some sort of felt material in there. I'm not sure. Probably felt, I'm guessing. So I'm going to saturate that with oil. And you know what? I bet I have my fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure this is going to solve the issue. And as I said, this thing is like over 15 years old. So if it's only drying out now, and we get this saturated with oil again, it's gonna last a long time. Electric motors last a long time as long as they're, lubricated and taken care of. Well, this is great. I'm pretty excited about this. Yeah, it's yeah, the things that get me excited. Oh, make some jokes. Put it in the comments. But oh yeah, this is good. I'm glad I took this apart, because otherwise I might have been able to get some oil to run down on the shaft, but yeah, not like this. This is awesome. So I'm just repeatedly putting some oil in here, and it's really starting to soak it up now. That's really great. Wow. I am very, very happy about this. Let's get the shaft back down in here. Okay, that seems to turn all right. And there's little notches, so when we push back in these little tabs that I use the screwdriver on, so probably we need to line those up. Okay. All right, well that went right into place actually. So now, this metal didn't seem very hard, so I should be able to, I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna have to go get my, so there's a little tab there, a little indent, and then there's the piece that needs to be pushed in there. I have a feel I'm gonna have to probably go get a hammer, otherwise I'll end up hurting myself. Okay, let me go get a hammer. We'll fix that up. Okay. Okay, it seems to be locked, kind of locked, like it won't turn, so it's in place. It has little marks, so it does fit down. We just need to push in these little tabs. And to do that, I'm just gonna put a screwdriver there. This just holds the end of the motor on, so and then I'm gonna tap down with my hammer on the top here. Okay, so that's what holds this motor together. Now, it actually spins now. Like before it was like it was hard to turn. And now it, I can spin it and it keeps spinning a little bit. So, I don't know if it's perfect, but as I said, now I can spin it easily. It doesn't super spin easy, but it spins and it keeps spinning after you spin it, you know, after you give it a twist. Now, is that perfect? Is it like brand new? I don't know, because I don't know what the motor was like when it was brand new, but what I can say, it's 100% better than what it was, so. Okay, so happy with that. I'm gonna continue. I just have to clean up, do a little bit more cleaning on the top, and we'll put this motor back in, but that looks like it's gonna work. Happy about that. All right. Okay, so everything's all cleaned up. I cleaned up the fan, so it's ready to go. And so you have the motor sitting up here. Don't assemble it here because you won't be able to maneuver it behind there after. So first thing to do, again, take the motor, put it under here, and bring it up here. See that there? And I'm going to put this fan back together now. This is called, on these electric motors, it's called a keyed chuck or shaft. I don't know. I'm not super into terminology, but it has this groove in here. And on the fan, there's also an alignment. So if you're having trouble putting this on, it's because you don't have it in the right place. So I made a little mark here, which corresponds with how this is shaped. So it's round with a little groove in there. So we need to get that lined up. And slide this on. Oops, sorry, wrong way. Let's just see. So we need to line that up. I have that little mark there. And there we go. So it's slid on all right. That looks good. And then remember the little washer, or not a washer, but a clamp, a pressure clamp. Now this is going to go on here. I'll get my screwdriver again. Oh. Go down here. So there's that little opening there you expand that out, should be able to push it on. So it's basically on. Now I'm just gonna make sure that it's pushed down good on the outer edges of it. Push it into place. That looks good. And then there's the little washer. This is kind of like similar to like a lock washer, but it's like a pressure washer. A pressure washer, not one you, but you know, it just locks everything into place because it won't come off easily. So here we go. So that's looking good. And then rotate this underneath. Get it into place. And push it up through the grommets like that. Now, there were two washers. Hopefully this is on camera. Let me check. Yes. So there. And there. And remember, there's these little rubber, kind of like rubber or hard plastic grommets. They should be in place, and you know, make sure they didn't get knocked out while you're doing things. And then get the nuts on. Get those screwed down. Start to do them evenly, do each side a little bit. So I can feel a little bit of resistance, just tighten it up a bit. Maybe about half a turn after. You don't need to put these in really tight. So there, resistance. Oops. And then about half a turn. Check this side here. And this fan, it might not seem like it now, but trust me, that's like way better compared to before. So we're good there. Now there's a few little things here that need to be addressed. One of the things with some of these units, there's this electrical connection here, and what it does is that it sends out a current between these two little pins, and it creates an ionization, which gives you that fresh air smell. And if they're really rusty and corroded, they might not work. So I just take a little piece of sandpaper. And you don't have to be super diligent on this. Just rough up some areas on them. Clean them up a little bit. You know, get any corrosion off, and make sure that this thing is not touching any metal or anything. It should just be out in the airflow, which it is like this. And the next thing is, we're going to go under here. Now on each side there's a connector, and I'll show you in a second. They're spring loaded. It's very common for many of them. Spring loaded. And they might be corroded. These ones are made of copper. So you need to use your little piece of sandpaper and clean those up. And the reason you do that is because how this whole system works, it uses electricity to create like positive and negative electrons and stuff, which attracts certain contaminants. So this slides in let's see here. So when this slides in, so there's those two connectors on each side. On this side, there's this, which connects with the right side, or depends on how you're looking at the video. But you need to clean this. So give this a little rub. Get any corrosion off of there. And then also on the other side, it connects in the mid region here. So give that a little bit of sanding. And then to put this in properly, there's a little arrow. Now, remember, the air flows up out of the machine. And then, correspondingly, on here, like this, like the main cell or the, I don't know, different wording, different, depends on your product, but it shows an airflow thing. So there's a little arrow here that points up. So that arrow, I'm going to put it in so that so the airflow is up, right? Up to the top. And the last thing we need to put in, now we don't have the carbon filter, which would slide in there, but we have the pre-filter. And the pre-filter, this is just the nylon mesh. It goes here. Slide that in. And again, I don't use the carbon filter because, I mean, you have to replace that every couple months. What they recommend on here is like every 3 months you clean all this stuff out, but there's no way I'm not going to replace a carbon filter. I mean, my house doesn't stink, which is basically what those carbon filters are for, try to remove stuff out of the air. And really, there was no benefit after using this for a while just to keep using that carbon filter. It's just another expense, which I don't need. It does a good enough job how it is. So anyways, all that stuff is in. And at this point, really, I can close up the back panel. If you don't put the back panel up and put this screw in, the unit won't start at all. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to do this. And be careful, I'm not going to put everything together. I'm going to plug this in. I mean, the fan is turning nice. Before, I don't know if you remember, but the fan is turning nice. I'm going to lift this up here so you can see. Like, that's turning really good compared to before. So we're going to just plug this in and give it a little quick run. Make sure it's working. Just have to go over here, plug this in. All right. And before, the fan wouldn't even start. I'd have to like push it to get it going. So let's see what happens now. And there we go. Starts up right away. Perfect. And one way to check to make sure you put the fan on properly, the air should be blowing up through the top here. So it's all good. What we're going to do now, let's assemble everything and get it back into, you know, service. Alright, so the unit is running fine and dandy. Let's just do a quick spin around here. I'll do a little, just see how much better it looks now. Some nice airflow coming out of there. Oh, and it smells good too. Oh. But anyways, yeah, you can smell it's working really good, so that's great. And now if there's a lot of sparking, or you'll know it, you'll hear it. If there's like lots of these like bang bang spark 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 stuff, that's probably because that main collector, or that main filter, the metal one with the fins, is still damp and there's some electrical issues. So if that does happen, I mean, turn it off, maybe take that thing out and let it dry longer, because it should not be sparking or making snappy sounds. And how you know everything is working, I'm going to zoom in here. So this is the main power. Of course, when it's off, the light's off. Turn it on, turns green. And this is the ion generator. And that, if you remember, that's those little wee tiny, that little piece of cord with the little tiny, they almost look like little nails on them. They're very sharp and spiky, which we cleaned. So you turn that on and that light should turn red. It's working great. So, and it's much cleaner, looks good. And it's probably, at this point, I'm guessing it's good for another 10 years. Again, they recommend to clean them every 3 months, and I would certainly do that. You should not wait more than 3 months, depending on the environment. But yeah, if you keep up the maintenance and clean it, it won't be such a big ordeal is what we went through today. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, come back for more, and make a comment. You know, any tips for cleaning them or maintaining them, or your experience with the HEPA filter ones compared to this electrostatic type idea. Yeah, let me know in the comments. Put something below. Anyways, take care everyone. Have a great day.